Well, good afternoon and welcome. My name is Edward Medor, and I'm with Workiz, Strategic Partnerships Manager. And I'm so happy that you guys were able to join us today. Yep, we've got the essentials prepared for you. It is Getting Your Ducks in a Row webinar, proudly being co-sponsored with my very good friend Taylor Constantine, Director of Strategic Partnerships at Swyft Filings. How are you today, Taylor?
Doing well, Edward. Glad to be here and looking forward to presenting some things to hopefully help out some of our valued customers today.
Excellent. And Taylor, it looks like you brought a friend with you today, Paige Torres. Paige, I understand you're also located in the great state of Texas. You're out in H-Town, right? I'm in Austin. You're in Houston.
Yeehaw! That's right. Here
Yeehaw!
live in Texas, we have some good weather today. My office is
It
actually in the
is.
sunroom, so I'm happy to have some good weather today and see the foliage and happy to be with you guys today.
It is some great weather, but I'm really glad that you were able to join us too. But I know there's probably still a few folks signing on right now, and just in case you're watching this at a later hour, we always do a really great job of being able to record these, put them online. If you registered for the event and you couldn't jump on, it's a-okay because we'll send out a copy via email. We'll post all the highlights to YouTube. So, I guess honestly, I'm just kind of dragging this on to allow a few more people to log on. But, today we put together a topic, a presentation that I'm kind of excited about, even though some folks might say, oh, this is boring because it's all about like the mundane stuff that I got to do with my business that I don't really care about, Well, I got news for you folks. This is stuff that you should care about. And I can remember quite a few instances throughout my career where these types of mundane, business type operational things that maybe we tend to overlook have come back and bitten some of my customers in the rear end. And let's just say I would not recommend that be you. So today's really all focused on helping home service business owners choose the right entity and to be able to stay compliant. And what do I mean by that? Like LLC versus S-Corps versus sole prop, we want to run through the basics, the pitfalls, and then open it up for a little bit of Q&A. We're not going to PowerPoint you to death today. I made Taylor promise me that we were not going to go super heavy on the PowerPoint. But let's get our ducks in a row. Let's focus on a quick practical session on protecting your business the right way from day one. So I'm going to allow Taylor really to walk us through the nitty gritty on this. Taylor's team, Swyft Filings, they have helped thousands upon thousands of small business owners formalize and protect their companies. He's joined us today to break down what owners actually need to know. Whether that be a decision to, create an LLC, an S-Corp, what each means for taxes, liability, and the day-to-day operations. So we're going to, go through just, some of the finer details here, and then we'll open up at the end. Feel free to drop in questions in the chat. In the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a little chat area, and I'll be reviewing those questions so that we can either interject them if the moment is right, or save them for the very end. But so yeah, that's my only quick housekeeping. Just be on the lookout for any questions you might have. We'll be happy to address those. So let's jump in. Taylor, again, thank you for being here. You want to kick us off with how contractors should think about choosing the right business entity?
Absolutely. Thanks, Edward. And Paige and I are happy to be here. And we really think our products that we're going to represent today are a great fit for home services groups. And we talked about the topic being getting your ducks in a row. And To us, that means how to protect and grow your home service business. So, with that in mind, let's dive in. So on the agenda today, we've got four main topics. The first one will be a sole proprietorship versus an LLC, and an analysis there of the risks of operating without proper legal protection and the business benefits that you can get from entity formation. So beyond the LLC formation, there's an additional benefit with an S-Corp election. So we're going to talk about the tax savings and operational advantages there. The third topic is going to be brand protection essentials. So trademark registration and monitoring we help a lot of different industries with that, but we definitely see with home services, there's a lot of great logos and imagery and brand names that are really valuable. So, we want to present some options to you there. And then the fourth topic is going to be operational streamlining tools. So a legal document library for efficient business operations. And there's going to be a document for every occasion there that we'll be able to help you with in the form of a library. So by the end of the session, we'll understand, exactly how to legally structure and protect any home service businesses for sustainable growth.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. One of our big mantras at Workiz is that we're always trying to automate everything but the wrench, but we also like to stay in our own lanes because I don't think we're going to get into this business anytime soon. So that's why we really look to align ourselves with strategic partners that can be the specialized forces there to help our customers scale and grow their businesses and to remain compliant, to keep your ducks in a row.
That's a big piece of it too. And as you're starting a business, you want to focus on everything that you need to do. And our goal is to be a resource to you guys, so that way you don't have to worry about the mundane paperwork. You have a trusted partner to guide you through it and to give you the tools that you need to succeed, so that way you can focus on you and your business.
Awesome.
Well said. And I think from our perspective, why do home service professionals need proper legal structure? There's a risk that are primarily legal and financial risks. There's sort of a set of those that we want to look at, and it's operating without liability protection. So with a sole proprietorship, you're personally on the hook for all debts and lawsuits. If something goes wrong, your personal assets could be at risk if you are formed as a sole proprietorship. So in building brand recognition in competitive markets, this goes back to the trademarking topic, protecting your business names, logos, and service marks from copycats, where reputation is everything. And then there's the idea of managing operations while teams are in the field. So you can go be good at what you do, and there'll be somebody to handle correspondence, contracts, compliance, that help you manage those elements where your crews are out doing what they do on a daily basis. So for tradespeople, liability and compliance are big concerns. And so we know that things can go wrong on the job, and the right business structure can protect your personal assets. Whoopsies. So the critical differences from a sole proprietorship versus an LLC. Sole proprietorship is going to be the simplest way to run a business, but there's no separation between you and your company. You own the assets, you keep the profits, and you take on the risks. And so in terms of those risks, we've got uncapped personal liability. So if you're sued, your personal assets are on the line. It can be tougher to build trust for large jobs. So some clients prefer businesses with formal structures. They're going to want to see some sort of incorporation strategy to have that familiarity with what they're probably used to in other circumstances. Limited scalability for hiring and financing. It can be more of a challenge if you are formed as a sole proprietorship. You are personally liable and for things like payroll mistakes, tax issues, workplace injuries. So we want to highlight some of those risks to position LLC protection as something that can essentially negate those or take care of those risks for you. So LLCs provide personal liability protection. This means your personal assets, your car, house, bank account are protected in the event your business is sued or if it defaults on a debt. these things happen. So the LLC can be in place to protect your personal assets. From a professional image standpoint, the LLC designation does signal credibility to clients and to partners. A little formality there. So informing an LLC reduces the risk and makes it easier to set up contracts, workers' compensation coverage, and payroll systems. So it gives you some operating and management flexibility that a lot of groups find very valuable.
Taylor, I got to tell you, you just reminded me of one of the most painful stories that I remember. So I had spent, I know you and I have talked about this before, but in a previous life, I'd spent almost a decade over at Angie Home Advisor, and I was working with this plumbing outfit based in I think it was San Antonio, actually. And this guy Dave, he had an amazing reputation. He'd been around forever. It was a family run business, but he was still running as a sole proprietor. I guess like when he had acquired it from his dad or something like that. For whatever reason, he set himself up as a sole prop. And one day his technician had installed a water heater in a rental home. And then a month later, the pressure relief valve failed and ended up completely flooding the garage, damaged the tenant's car. It was a total mess. I mean, we're talking like, it was like at least 25 grand in damage between the property and the car. But here's where it got ugly. So the tenant's insurance company came after Dave personally, not just his business, but him. Because as a sole proprietor, there was no legal separation between Dave's business and Dave himself. And his business didn't have enough coverage. I mean, this guy was just a nightmare, a mess. Like, was not organized, and that was shocking to me because this business had been, in his family for such a long period of time. But had he been an LLC or a corporation, that wall of separation would have been there and the claim would have stopped at his business. I mean, worst case is his business insurance covers it and he keeps his personal assets safe. But because he never filed, he was completely exposed. And so, that's why, again, when I said I'm passionate about this stuff, it's because I remember situations where this stuff really came back to bite somebody in the what, right?
Yeah, I mean, you hate to hear that story because it's relatively simple to go through the steps to convert from a sole proprietorship to an LLC. And then once you get there, you can take advantage of the tax options as an S corporation. So this is a sort of a conversion mechanism. You can elect an S corp status, and we'll get to some of those details in a minute. But back to the idea of maybe losing some contracts because you're a sole proprietor, specifically commercial and government accounts, they may require proof of an LLC for bidding or for compliance reasons of their own. So Swyft Filings, this is where our product line comes in to help here. As Edward mentioned, we've helped over 300,000 businesses incorporate. And there are thousands of those that are home services groups. And so that's why we're so happy to partner with Workiz, because we see a really good fit between our mutual client base. So personal asset protection, that's, again, we kind of went over that, but these are the benefits you're going to get from working with Swyft Filings. Affordable formation. We do have a $0 package, and we'll get into the basic versus standard versus premium. But the credibility that comes from having incorporated with a group like us, we've been around 10 plus years. It can really enable some growth for you. So easier access to business credit and a lot of different structuring capabilities for your operations. So on the S-Corp election topic, when and why it makes sense, I think from our perspective, the primary benefit is the reduction of Social Security and Medicare taxes, so self-employment taxes for profitable home service businesses. So the idea is that once you form an LLC, you can elect to be taxed as an S-Corp. So that can reduce the amount of income you pay from self-employment tax. Again, if you form an LLC without selecting S-Corp tax, you stand to pay more because you'll be taxed as a sole proprietorship by default. So you can take a strategic salary and distributions here. So with S-Corp taxation, paying yourself a salary less than your total business profits could mean serious tax savings. And when it makes sense, generally, companies with an annual profit of 80,000 or more might find that electing an S-Corp status can result in tax savings. And all this is because the IRS requires you to pay yourself a reasonable compensation. And a general rule is that it has to be at least somewhere around what other businesses pay for similar services. So this is a little bit in the weeds on the tax front, but these are really relevant details that strategically, as we're getting ready for tax season coming up next year, could make some sense for a lot of groups. So we just want to present this option as part of what you can do with Swyft filings. Here's just a quick example with an HVAC contractor. There are a lot of numbers in here, but let's say ABC HVAC LLC has 120,000 annual profit, and the owner is going to end up paying 15.5% self-employment tax on the entire amount. So something around 18,000 in self-employment taxes. So using that as a starting point, if we went the S-Corp election route and took a reasonable salary, 70,000 market rate for an HVAC manager, the self-employment tax only on salary of that amount is about 10K. So your tax savings are going to be around 7,000 because remember it's back to that original figure of around 18. So through this distribution, and again, there are a lot of numbers here, but we see the benefit just in that example of electing an S-Corp, taking a reasonable salary, and then having that benefit from a tax saving standpoint. So, I don't want to lose anybody in a math class here, but hopefully this kind of makes sense just in terms of the simple path that again you can walk down with Swyft filings, and we'll coach you through all this stuff with our service team, and can help make sure that we click all the right buttons to get you in position to take advantage of this.
Excellent.
Another topic, and this is part of our packages as well, and so a different subject than taxes, but the importance of a registered agent. And a registered agent is a crucial contact point for your LLC, responsible for receiving official legal and tax correspondence on behalf of your business. So official correspondence meaning the service of process, legal notice, and official government communications, timely notification. We would promptly forward all these critical documents to key personnel within your LLC, ensuring no deadlines are missed. So we want to help keep you in good standing with the Secretary of State by ensuring proper receipt of legal documents. So the risk here is that if a sole proprietor is acting as their own registered agent, things can get lost in the mail, or you're out on the job site, or you're just doing your daily role for work and you miss something that's important. So we do offer registered agent services and have done this for a long time. So a lot of our LLC members do opt to choose a registered agent service through Swyft filings. So again, we're going to handle the diligence of sensitive documents and provide a consistent physical address, to leverage this service for you so that you don't have to do it.
Taylor, I've actually got a question for you, because I'm sure somebody that's listening either now or in the future is probably wondering this, because it was something I thought about when I first heard of Swyft filings, which, by the way, was before Taylor and I ever became friends. But, let's say you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, I've got an attorney. I'll just have them do this, How does Swyft filings fit into that picture? Like, what's the difference between using a service like yours versus going straight to a law firm?
Yeah, that is a great question, and I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is it's going to be tremendously more expensive to ask any kind of legal professional like an attorney to step in and handle that. But we're joined now by Paige, who's been with Swyft for a little bit longer than I have for sure, and might have a really good perspective here. Paige, hate to put you on the spot, but that is a good question.
No, perfect. I was actually about to jump in. And one of the things that I want to highlight, Edward, is when you use Swyft filings or all of our products, you have one portal for everything. So instead of going in that junk drawer and scavenging through when it's time to do your taxes, like for instance, we're in Texas, so I'm going to use the Texas example. When you go to file your taxes every year, you have to have something called a web file number. A web file number comes to your registered agent and is a piece of paper with a little number at the top. And if you can't find that when it's time to pay your taxes, you have to reorder it and call in and go through all the muck of getting a hold of it. So when you utilize us as your registered agent, we store all of your business documents in one portal. So you can go on your phone, click, there it is. We also notify you of everything and we keep everything in a really safe place. We also have space in the portal where you can upload your own business documents too. So it's really a centralized hub for all of your business documents. That way you're not having to, scrounge for them. And then like Taylor said, we are priced very competitively, especially if you're using like a lawyer or an accountant. So there's more benefits than one. The other thing that I want to hint on or speak of is being a home service business, you might not have an office and you might office out of home. The registered agent address in every single state is public information. So if you want to keep your home address safe from online, which means like any of your customers can look up who your registered agent is, you're going to want to protect that address. And by using a third party, it shows our information instead of yours. So that's another thing I wanted to throw out.
No, that's awesome. I mean, that's a good answer. Now, like, I know that you're not necessarily like positioning Swyft as any kind of a law firm, rather just an army of experts that can really cut back on my expenses, streamline the heck out of everything. It's almost like you're automating everything but the wrench too, just, pertaining to completely different topics. But I mean, do you guys have legal professionals on staff and affiliated counsel that are essentially providing that extra level of protection for your customers?
So in our basic and standard package, there is no legal advice. You're not working with an attorney or anything like that. But on Swyft Filings in Trademark Engine, we do have offers in which you can consult an attorney. For Trademark Engine, we have, I believe it's 12 in-house attorneys, and there's a slide about this later, but we have an actual attorney reviewing your trademark applications, working with you to ensure that we're sending the information correctly and getting your trademark for you for the USPTO. And then for Swyft Filings, when it comes to LLCs, we have a network of vetted attorneys. I actually onboarded all of our attorneys. I can name them by names, and we went through a rigorous process to make sure the attorneys we're putting in front of our clients are best in practice. They're going to treat you as we do. So yes, and you do have the option of consulting with an attorney. Again, we wanted to make this as hands-off or as hands-on as you want. You do have the power of choice when you're using our services.
No, that's great. I mean, that's probably a pretty good segue to talking about trademark registration. Because I think it's important to delineate. Swyft is not just going to help me figure out, do I need a corporation? Should I, form an LLC? But, you guys have a suite of different products, which I think is amazing. And, so now you can start to establish brand protection through trademark registration. Tell us a little bit more about that, Taylor.
Yeah, your home service brand is valuable. Protect it. Edward and I were at a conference together with a lot of home services groups, and we saw all kinds of great logos and designs and really just, really good brands. And we thought, man, they need some help trademarking. So, it all boils down to everybody recognizes that symbol. So you can put it on your website, your branding, your wrapped trucks. Protect yourself not only in your local market, but make expansion easier. So when you go to increase your footprint, you've got the assurances of a trademark. And so everything from business name protection, again, logo and vehicle. So it's an asset to you, and we want to help you protect it. And we go through the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to again stop copycats. So all this is official with the government. And it's a big signal to consumers that a company is reliable and confident. So we're big proponents of this.
And that is awesome. And you know, that's why I brought up, like, you know, do you basically have lawyers on staff that are going to help ensure that, you know, you're keeping all of your ducks in a row, right? And you do, you know, you're really providing that level of experience, professionalism, you know, making me essentially have a lot of warm and fuzzies inside that I have picked the right partner. And it all comes back to that affordability factor. You know, I can save my money, maybe because I want to go out and wrap another truck, you know, maybe because I'm trying to hire another technician into my company, and like I don't need to be tying, you know, all of my hard-earned revenue into these unnecessary expenses. You know, I don't need to go out there and buy one of the gigantic gargantuan software platforms that's going to make me put a second mortgage on my home. So that's why I chose to use Workiz, you know. And now
Right.
I'm choosing to lean into one of Workiz's partners, Swyft Filings, to ensure that I'm compliant. So I love it, guys. I mean, that's awesome. What else can you tell us about, you know, the simple steps to trademark protection? You've got the ability to search. You're connected through the patent office. You're going to do the application preparation, the official filing. You're going to monitor and protect. I mean, you guys are really doing just about everything.
Yeah, the first thing we're going to do is make sure that nobody has beat you to the punch, and that you can trademark what you're intending to trademark. So there's a name check and sort of a registration check, and then there's as long as the idea isn't totally out of left field and it's something that can't really be trademarked. So just sort of a quick sanity check there that, hey, nobody's got this, and yes, this is a trademarkable thing. And then we get the application ready and go ahead and submit that for government filing. And then the monitoring and protection is equally as valuable to make sure that nobody's infringing on it, and that we can take action to protect you in the exclusive rights that you've obtained. So this is definitely a no-brainer. We saw a lot of people with custom made logos. Edward and I did at the conference we were at this year, and some personal stories of what they'd created. And we encouraged them to go ahead and file for a trademark. So we think there's a lot of those types of individuals in the home services business that could use this.
Yeah, again, I hate to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Okay. So that's reminding me of another story because, when I was at Home Advisor, everything was always about our whole seal of approval, right? And so we would take the time to do the vetting, the background checks, the license checks. We actually had like a team that sort of acted as a, public relations intermediary. Like if there was a homeowner with a complaint, we could jump in and kind of mitigate through all of that. And sometimes we would actually have to suspend or terminate a contractor. And so there was this guy down in Florida, and I forget what it was, like storm chasing roofing or something. I don't know. There's, a bunch of them out there, but he had this roofing company, and he ended up getting a cease and desist letter from the actual trademark owner because he was ripping off somebody else's logo. I mean, this was just like probably what it all boiled down to was Chat GPT wasn't around back then, where you could have a new logo that wouldn't be in any violation of trademarks, right? And he borrowed somebody else's logo. But I mean, he had to pull down his website. He had to strip the wraps off of his truck. I mean, he had to redo all of his marketing and basically start over from scratch, and spent a boatload of money when, I mean, I could have come to Swyft Filings. I could have easily protected my assets. I could have made sure that, what I was about to use wasn't going to be something that was going to get me in trouble. So, again, this stuff really hits home with me because I got like 20 more of those stories, but I don't think anybody wants to listen to me tell stories.
I like them, and I know our team at Trademark Engine does for sure. And Edward, you asked about sort of, do we have some kind of like a deep bench of attorneys, and absolutely, there's Amber, Jack, and Amaya. just a few of our all-stars there on that front. And the cost is as low as $49 with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office fees included there. A lot of experienced trademark attorneys are going to be along for the ride with you. Again, professional filing, comprehensive search to avoid conflicts, like that story you just told, Edward, and just ongoing support and monitoring. So the alternative options, and we sort of chatted about this a little bit earlier, a private attorney going to be high fees, hard to find, do it yourself filing. We have heard, I personally have heard some stories of things just not going right when you kind of try to do it on your own and go work with the government on your own, and you're not quite sure how to do it.
Yeah.
And so risk of errors, rejections, wasted time. And so, we really like this solution a lot.
I mean, that's a killer difference right there for me. And I know you're just giving an example, right? But again, if I'm trying to get out there, wrap another truck, hire another technician, I would certainly love to be able to hang on to, close to $2,500 or more, where you guys can start as low as $49. Like, this is not rocket science. This is good stuff. What about legal forms? One of the coolest features inside of Workiz is that we have like a section where you can keep customized forms. And there might be a form, like if I'm out there actively selling service maintenance agreements, right? I'm taking one of my customers into a legally binding agreement. They're buying into this maintenance plan for the next 12 months. Maybe I had a heck of a salesman out there and I sold him into some titanium plan for 24 months. But at the end of the day, I got to be able to deliver on what I say it is that I'm going to do, right? And you guys have a legal forms generator that can, again, attorney drafted, be able to take through every stage of your business. You can download these in minutes. I think a lot of them are in like PDF format. So I could probably even use one of those forms on Workiz, right? Because I paid for it. It's mine.
Yeah, and I mean, the way I think about this is it's a business document for every occasion, and there are a lot of business occasions. I mean, there's hiring, there's firing, there's expansion, there's licensing, operating. I mean, a lot of different scenarios, and so our library covers that, makes it easy to customize those documents and download in just minutes. And with our standard and premium plans, let's say you're a sole prop and you convert to an LLC, you're going to have the option with a standard and premium plan to go ahead and just try this product. This is called 360 Legal Forms, and so this is your own personal library, and you can have a trial to go see what you need in there. But a lot of service agreements, liability waivers.
Collections, disputes.
Yeah.
I mean, I went with the service agreement. I didn't even see that you had service agreements on there, but see, we're thinking the same thing, right?
Very useful.
So yeah, that is awesome. I mean, you're really all in one. So walk us through, like, because everybody always wants to know. Let's get down to the brass tacks. What's this going to cost me? I mean, you've got a basic package, which what's that say there? $0 plus your state filing fee. Now this is simply just for what? What do I get for these different packages? Basic, standard, premium.
Yeah, I mean, we think of this as best for brand new home service businesses. We're going to get a name availability check. You can't name it Taylor and Edwards Home Services Group because that's already taken, but you can do another one. So just help you pick a name. 10-day filing here. So if you're not in a rush, this is good. You do get lifetime customer support and a quick tax consult that's included with that, as well as articles of organization filing. For the standard package, this is what we see most groups go with. You're going to pay $199 plus state filing fees. So that is dependent on what state you're going to be incorporating in. You get all the basic features that we just went through, and instead of 10 days, you get 3 days. You also get an EIN with this, and so that is going to be what you will need from a tax perspective to make sure you can go ahead and file. Custom banking resolution, so you can take this straight to the bank and look at getting some funding if you need it. Custom operating agreement as well, so you can get to work. So The premium package, all those things, $299, so a little bit higher cost, but next day, 1 day business filing, and then a 2-month trial of 360 legal forms, and a 3-month trial of Snap Mailbox virtual address. So this is a really cool product that we've got that basically nobody likes going to the mailbox and rifling through all the paper. So we scan everything. We can step in essentially and get your mail, your business mail, and scan it for you. And you can either say shred it or ship it to me. That's sort of the boiled down essence of what Snap Mailbox does. So you can kind of get your mail in email form and say, okay, I need that one or I don't need that one. So, really useful tool for a lot of businesses, especially if you don't want to, again, mix up your personal address with your work address. So we sort of step in and give you a business mailing address. Again, with the premium package, another extra, you're going to get a free website and domain creation through a third-party partner of ours. So, a lot of value there for $299. So we encourage, people to consider that, but it's all about what, position you're in.
That's amazing. I might sign up for that if you'll start shredding some of my mail for me too,
Not a bad idea, right? I know.
No, it's not a bad idea at all. Now, I know everybody's going to be excited about this one because I asked you like a month ago, could you bring a deal, especially because we got the holidays coming up. We're going to have, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and you agreed to offer all of the webinar attendees here today a really cool Swyft filings and Workiz. I almost said Workiz. All the Swyft filings and Workiz customers, viewers today, a savings. This is your fall savings, $30 off both the standard and premium packages. So if anybody's sitting in front of their computer, you got your cell phone handy, you can scan this QR code here, but I'm also going to drop a link directly into the chat here. And this link, Andre's been active in the chat there. Hey, Andre, how are you today? But feel free to click on this link. This will give you $30 off. And I really appreciate you doing that for us today, Taylor Page. That was very generous of you. But more importantly, once you go to the website and you go through the sign-in process and so on and so forth, you're going to find there's a ton of information on there. If you have questions, you guys have a pretty amazing support team, and a lot of the information is kind of self-serve as you go through it. I like the way that it's been set up. It's kind of intuitive is the best way that I could describe that. But is there anything else that you want to tell our audience here today, Taylor or Paige?
Very user friendly, like you said, and as we say in the South, this is our happy fall, y'all discount. So we are excited to be helping, a lot of different home services groups. So we would welcome anyone that has heard our message today, to reach out. And as Edward said, easy user experience, great support, and Swyft, you're in and out quickly, and so it's not something that's going to take too much of your time.
That's awesome. And again, that's why we're partners, because Workiz as a field service management platform is incredibly easy to use, easy to implement, easy to onboard, and we want to make sure that our partners are staying in the same spirit, providing very easy solutions. So I thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to where our partnership can go. We've been in some exciting conversations about potentially integrating Swyft right into the Workiz platform, and so I'm always apprehensive to talk about things that aren't yet here. But the spirit of our partnership, we just want to continue to drive with that simplicity factor. But in the meantime, feel free to take advantage of this savings. We should have some additional information out to everyone about Swyft. Keep abreast, keep your eyes peeled for other exciting offers or information as Swyft begins to or continues to roll out new products. We'll be keeping you in the loop. So Taylor, Paige, thank you so much. I'm going to give everybody back a little time to their day. Get out there, hustle, grind, make some more money, and we'll see you again here real soon in about another 2 to 3 weeks for another Workiz webinar. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
guys.
Bye-bye.